From protecting your children against social meat eaters in the prehistoric age to protecting your children against social media in the modern age. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm Jason Burns.
And I'm Danny Nucci, and this is the What About podcast.
You know, we're talking parents today with actor Joe Chrest, and I did a very dad thing this week.
Which I wonder if it's Christopoulos or Christolakis or Christolopoulos.
Full name?
Greek name, yeah.
Yeah.
Christ, yeah.
But I did a real dad thing this week. I got my first real pair of slippers, which I've never had. I'm not a slipper person. I don't like...
What? It's not even Christmas.
Well, see, I'm a long time. I'm really going to pull on the heartstrings of everybody. I'm a long time sufferer of plantar fasciitis, and my feet always hurt. So I did the slippers. Yeah, I did the slippers, and I don't like them because I'm always hot. They make my feet hot, and then they make me hot.
They make my feet hot.
But you know, I'm trying to become a slipper guy. Are you a slipper guy?
I'm not a slipper guy. I'm not it never evolved. You know, I for a while I was like the sock with the rubber bottom.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
You know, which I like because it keeps your feet warm. But I mean, I live in LA. You don't really need slippers as much.
Are you a robe guy?
I'm definitely a robe guy.
You are a robe guy. All right.
Oh my God, am I a robe guy? As a matter of fact, during the pandemic, I was always in a robe. People were like, put something on. I'm like, why? I love a robe.
Like go
I
out
almost had a robe. By the way, I almost had a robe for this one.
Oh, nice.
I literally almost had a robe, but I just thought, I'm not going to do that.
Like go out to the mailbox in the robe? You do that?
Oh, the whole thing.
Oh,
take out the garbage cans. I mean,
Okay.
I'm like, and by the way, it's a fuzzy black robe.
I like it.
I mean, I literally look like I'm right out of the fucking Sopranos. Hey, how you doing? Hey, you gonna keep those garbage cans over there? Literally, that's what I look like. I'm like the old Italian guy, you know, dragging his cans.
We're two dads talking to another dad, Joe Chrest, about his role as a dad.
Yeah, Joe Chrest, versatile, prolific actor, been in a lot of wonderful projects, and he is Ted Wheeler. He is the dad in Stranger Things, and little thing that I didn't know that he was a sharpshooter. He was he was in the Air Force, and
During the Cold War. Crazy.
During the Cold War, right? His marksmanship, he was awarded for, which is cool. And then he plays pretend for a living now.
Mm-hmm. And he's got a new movie out.
He's got a movie, Lisa Frankenstein. The affable former athlete, adjunct professor, and dad of two lovely kids. Although they're kind of like teenagers and adults now, I guess.
Still lovely,
but
though.
Still children.
Yeah.
Still lovely. Joe Chrest.
Hey,
There he is.
Joe,
Professor.
how you doing?
I've never done this format before. You guys hear me all right and all that?
Oh, yeah, we can hear you great. You look like you're in a prison video, though. Are you in a prison?
Prison video, he says.
I literally just finished a self-tape here, so that's why I'm in front of the most generic background. I was like, so let me just throw my computer up there and get this going. Yeah, the old self-tape.
Sure, the self-tape. But wait a minute, but you're the star of one of the most popular television series in years. You still have the self-tape? I don't understand. Sarcasm. I'm kidding.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm trying to break out of the dad mold. You know,
Well, first of all, if you look at your resume, you've broken out of the dad mold your entire career. This is kind of somewhat of a new thing for you.
you know, I just go through this is my third phase, I think, of typecasting. You know, because it's like the whole first part of my career. It seemed like I was every conceivable bad guy. That the first movie I did was Soderbergh's King of the Hill, and I was this bellhop. Well, they all are, yeah.
As bellhops are, Joe. I mean, let's be honest. They're nefarious.
You know, it was like after that, and I love that. You know, I love playing all the bad guys. But I mean, it was like you name it. You know, rapist, murderer, cheater. All this.
All the fun roles to play.
All the type of stuff on a resume that doesn't fly getting a college job as a professor. That's what I'm getting.
That's right. and then I went through the cop phase, and then
I'm still in the cop phase. I've been in the cop phase forever.
nothing wrong with the cop phase.
No, I'm fine with the cop phase.
I was having a look at your IMDb page, Joe, and you and Danny have crossed paths in the past.
Oh, shit.
On his show
Yeah.
Snoops way back in the day.
Yeah.
Is that nuts?
Unbelievable, yeah.
Is that crazy? Do you remember what you were doing in that in the show? Do you recall the character at all?
Only because I was talking about it recently, because I couldn't remember if it was in the pilot.
You're not alone. Nobody can remember.
But I couldn't remember if I was Stephen Tobolowsky's attorney or he was my attorney.
Even more strange, we just had Stephen on as well. This is getting really, what a small world.
Did he ever, did he tell you guys his great, he's got all these stories, of course, but you know, the one about in the opening night of Miss Firecracker, in the orchestra pit.
No, he had a better story. He had a story about his open heart surgery experience. It was intense, man.
It was rough. It was, but also positive
and very entertaining, which is not surprising, I'm sure. You know, I have the same birthday as Oliver Stone and Tommy Lee Jones and Joe Chrest.
Therefore, the Duke, John Wayne,
and Joe Walsh.
Yeah. Wow. Awesome. A Gemini, fellow Gemini.
Yeah. When is your birthday again?
Yeah, you're not a Gemini?
No, because I'm not a Gemini. And on his Wikipedia, it had September 15th, but I'm guessing that might not be it.
Oh, no. I'm May 26th.
Oh, there we go.
Wow.
Well, Wikipedia also says that, you know.
Hold on. The one thing they can get right is the fucking birthday.
They can actually fact check that.
That's unbelievable. I mean, I've literally lost all faith in Wikipedia as of now. I mean, your birthday is not accurate?
I mean, nothing's accurate with me online.
Wow. I'm crushed. I don't like you as much. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
I was going to say, you just didn't look like a Gemini.
I know, I don't have Gemini vibes. It's true. I'm like one person.
I read your bio on the LSU site, and it talks about how you're unrecognizable from role to role, which really is a true statement. And I'm curious if that has allowed you a little bit of anonymity, especially as Danny just pointed out, being on the biggest show, on the biggest new platform in God knows how long.
Yeah, it's you know, it's crazy whenever I'm wearing any of my larger glasses, and I wear glasses. I'm almost all the time, but like I said, it was just auditioning for a non-glasses.
Do you struggle with the light when you self-tape in glasses? It's not easy because you get the light reflection in the glasses.
Yeah, you know, I mean, it's taken a lot of different, you know. Yeah, I've got it down now, you know, to bounce it off of this, and then, but. Actually, this is my best way to zoom kind of thing, because with the contacts can I see all at different levels, because I wear one, and so I can see to read real well. I can see at computer distance. I can see at distance, and just.
Well, Elon Musk is putting computer chips in people's heads now, so soon we might be able to see through things.
Yeah, I'm wondering about the Apple goggles, you know, like when those are going to go to contact lenses, you know what I mean?
That's scary, though.
I like it. Fuck reality. No, I'm just kidding.
But going back to your anonymity, Joe, you've been able to sort of maintain separate worlds from Hollywood you and Professor you?
You know, our show's strung out. I mean, we just started shooting season 5. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I mean, we started all this about 8 years ago.
Crazy. Yeah.
You know, and so like, cause Finn and most of the kids were 12 years old. So anyway, when the shows are out is like when I'm recognized more. And then, you know, cause like we haven't really had one out there in well over a year, and mm-hmm. so you know it kind of fades off, but then you know when they come out there's a lot more, but mm-hmm. yeah, I mean I enjoy.
So it's relative anonymity. Are you in LA or are you Los Angeles?
No, I'm in as we speak I'm in Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
So you actually live in Baton Rouge?
I've lived in Baton Rouge since my son was getting ready to start school. I I thought I lived in New York probably altogether. I was back and forth, but probably altogether about 4 years, and Los Angeles 19 years. And when my first kid Nick was born, um, we talked about leaving LA and going to some place. It
Somewhere
was
not LA.
yeah, but what we misguidedly thought, that well, outside of the big cities, it'll be like way easier to raise a kid, with all the crazy influences and stuff, and it just it's the
It's called
same
the
here.
interweb.
Yeah, it's the same here. So
Well, going back to the fame, Joe, I mean, being at LSU, you must be, I mean, Olivia Dunn, who is just like this like crazy public person right now. I mean, just seeing that and then managing a career in Hollywood, I mean, it's crazy who can become a celebrity now and
yeah,
how it works.
the whole all the women's sports over there right now. I mean these. There's two or three girls on the girls' basketball team, the women's basketball team. That
Yeah, they were just on the cover of Sports Illustrated, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
and the one they call Bayou Barbie, and they are up there getting close to Olivia Dunn's status, but yeah, they're and I'm not. I teach a class over there probably every other year, sometimes every other semester, just kind of when it works out. But um, I went to grad school there, and so they've been really good about letting me just come and go, as it's convenient. But I love that part, of my life, being able to go over there and do that, mix it up with. I'd probably study all the time. I always said like if I was independently wealthy, I'd probably just be in college all the time.
Well, this is the reason we have this podcast, Joe, because we just want to learn about all of these crazy things and discuss these crazy things.
And how does, I got a question, Joe, how does a kid from West Virginia decide he's going to be a movie star?
You know, it kind of fell on what I've traced it to. I always was big into sports, still am. Uh, I just, if I could be anything, I'd probably want to be like a college football coach.
So you got to play one, didn't you? You got to play one in
I did. I got to play one
Blindside, was it?
in the blind side.
Yeah, Blindside.
I was the only non coach playing himself. They had Nick Saban.
Yeah.
They had Coach O at that time, but they were all at different schools. Ogeron was with Mississippi, and Saban had to go back and put on his LSU purple and gold. But yeah, I was the only. And then Phil Fulmer from Tennessee.
Yep.
But yeah, that was really cool for me. I got to play one. But I wanted to. I played all the sports. Basketball was my best sport, and it's playing under the rim was pretty evident I wasn't going to get any college offers.
How tall a fella are you?
I'm 6'1".
On Wikipedia, it says 7'8".
Yeah, that's right.
You're bigger than Wemby on Wikipedia. So you always had the performance. There's a performance element.
Yeah, I was looking for, I auditioned for a play my senior year, and it had that vibe of the competitive aspect of it, the long odds. Yet it was something that I could do that genetically, you weren't going to be held back.
And this was senior year of high school, not
senior year of high
university.
School.
Yeah.
It's funny. Chris Bauer, same thing. He played football, and then senior year of high school, he ended up doing a play, and that's how he became an actor. So then, when you decided to go into the Air Force, was it just something you dropped, or did you have thoughts of maybe doing it again? Or was the fact that you were a sharpshooter? Was that performative as well?
Yeah, I got to then play a sharpshooter, but
Did you actually ever play a sharpshooter?
I did in the Hunger Games with speaking of athletes.
Oh,
Yeah, I
that's
was
awesome.
being led by college basketball star Mahershala Ali. Yeah, he's a good player. But yeah, uh, I went to college. I didn't really know what, I knew I was interested in theater. My dad had eventually retired from the Air Force, and he was in 30 years.
Oh, so you were an Air Force baby. Is that how you ended up in West Virginia? Was he all over the place, or was he like stationed in one place?
Not all over the place. He was in France and Germany before I was born, and then he came back and was stationed in West Virginia at now defunct Guthrie Air Force Base. But yeah, I thought about. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I knew I loved the acting, but I didn't see how it could possibly be a career.
How could it?
And yeah, and so it was just kind of a lark, something fun. And then you know, I I went into the Air Force, and it's like um, within probably right after basic training, I got into the 8 to 4:30 every day. Having to be all spit and polish and at a desk. I wasn't anything exciting. I was a lean, mean typing machine.
Sure.
Uh, and but I was like I did have a top secret security clearance, which is interesting because it was never as stringent as it is with like today's
hmm
NDAs
Standards,
with
yeah.
these. Yeah, it's like they won't give me a script to this, and it's like I was handling top secret government
I know, it's
documents.
unbelievable, isn't it? They've got the watermark on your script, and no one can see this, and you only get a piece of it just so you can't give away the ending. It's
No, yeah,
fantastic.
no.
Does any of that Air Force training in terms of the life stuff carry over, like the straight gig line, the nicely made bed? Do you have any of that?
Oh, the gig line. What? Wait, were you in the military?
No, my father was in the Army, so I heard a
The
lot about
old
the
gig
gig
line.
line.
I adhere to that, to this day with
All
everything.
right, what is the gig line? Help a brother out. What is the gig line?
Yeah, the gig line is your belt buckle has to line up right with your fly. So like everything is in, and so does, and then right on up
The
the
buttons?
shirt. So the shirt, the belt buckle, and the fly line all has to be.
The gig
That's
line.
I got it going on right now as we speak. You can't fight it. But yeah, that for a long time I had that sort of order. But then after kids, it's like you'd go nuts if you tried to keep everything.
Well, I do though. Danny will tell you. I'm a just in place guy. Everything needs to be.
Yeah, my buddies in college, they used to joke about like how ordered my apartment was and everything, and so like they would we'd be, like having a party or something, and I would leave the room, and my buddy Dan would adjust the lampshade.
To mess
Tilt
with
it
you.
like yeah, and everybody would wait till I came in and put it back, and like the first time it happened, I'm like talking, having a beer and stuff, and just inadvertently, I don't even like make a thing, just like go beer, adjust the shade, and the whole room just ah.
So did you eventually move to New York or Los Angeles to start working professionally?
Los Angeles first, because what brought me down to LSU was there was a guy down there, John Dennis, who ran the uh, at the Mark Taper Forum. He had their resident ensemble, which they don't have any longer. Didn't even have when I moved out there. But for 10 years, he ran that, and so he set us up a showcase and all that, and so had some representation interest and stuff. So a couple of us just went out there. Uh, most of my buddy, that there were four of us went out. I'm the only one back. They're all still out there swinging the bat.
Sure. Sure. So here you are. You're humming along. You're working. You consistently get hired. You have a career. And when Stranger Things came up, was it just another pilot audition like all the others? Right? Everyone went to go. Oh, this was the one, and I said, no, it was one of many. Right?
No, yeah, as a matter of fact, so much time elapsed, from the audition. I was on the set. I remember it really well. Deepwater Horizon, and I was just sitting out there, like on the steps, talking to my buddy James Dumont, and I got the call. It's this show Stranger Things, and Stranger. I had to have her brief me on what was that, and I was like, yeah, I mean that sounds cool.
and Netflix wasn't Netflix then, right? It hadn't gone the full blow up. Yeah.
No, that's right. Yeah, I know. I should have trusted my instinct. When the show was like getting all popular, I was like, I didn't. I bought a good bit of Netflix stock at that time, but I was like, not enough.
Not the Apple stock in 1980 kind of thing, where
Right,
you
right.
had those stories.
No, or the Microsoft. Damn
Yeah.
it. So just in terms of your experience, I mean, obviously this was, from what I can gather, one of the most visible things that you've done. How has it changed the way you audition, the opportunities that you get, your life, really?
Yeah, it's one of those things, like when something's recently out, or you got some attention for something, uh, at that time, there's more direct offers for things, but also, um, if you do have to audition for something, a lot of times you end up like, uh, I honestly feel like the dad role things, and I mean, it's crazy how many I've done since. All kinds of different ones, though. Like I got to play Elvis's dad and Tommy
Mhm.
Lee's dad from Motley
Yep.
Crue, and
Mhm.
but it's kind of like they already have in mind. I think like Lisa Frankenstein, for instance, which is just getting ready to come out. That they actually wanted me to be kind of the same clueless
Dad,
dad in that.
you
So
did it so well on such a grand stage that they just want you to keep doing it because you do it so well.
yeah,
What's nice here, Joe, is that you said early in your career you played rapists, and you didn't do that so well that they didn't keep having you play rapists and murderers, which is a positive.
You don't know that. You don't know that. You probably got very close on a lot of rapists and murderers parts.
yeah, that's right. But I'm trying to get back to my, because I mean, I'm like,
You're everyman. You are
Mm.
everyman. Look at your resume. I mean, there's not much you haven't played or can't play.
yeah, I want to try to get back to the country guys. I'm from West Virginia. I spent a lot of time in Louisiana. It took me forever to get rid of. I mean, I had the most unbelievable twang.
Really?
Uh,
Because you have nothing now. You have like the no accent.
Easy with nothing.
No, he's got
No,
the
it's
no
there.
accent.
Oh, he's
I
got
didn't
an
learn.
accent. Oh, without question, I can hear it.
yeah, but I when I was in high school,
High school, not high
some-
school, but high school.
somebody just posted though something that from a high school basketball game, that by then I had quit my senior year. I wasn't playing basketball for the school team any longer, and I was announcing the game, and I was listening to it, and I was like, because I remembered I announced some games, and it's like, he puts the guy in the basket, and there he goes. I mean, this was me, and he's like, 2 points for Walter Hall, which I ended up.
By the way, I love that voice.
Yeah, and so I was like, oh my God, I can't even. I knew I had a thick West Virginia accent, but but anyway, that was really weird to hear. That was just like about a month ago, and it's very. But I was able to use that. I basically used the same voice as when I played Tom Sawyer in Big River.
Nice.
So the amazing thing is that you've been able to, like you said, move to back to Louisiana and live there, which is part of what I think the pandemic has done is it's allowed us actors to live wherever we
You
want.
can live anywhere.
Yeah, which is kind of a new thing, and I think wonderful in some ways, challenging in other. I miss the room. I miss going in and reading in the room.
Well, I flew in to meet with Jason Reitman last week, and for the new SNL 75, and I had worked with him before, and I came up there, and it was just so shocking to get a in the room invite, and so I flew up, and man, he was like, "Oh man, you didn't have to come in, da da da," and I was like, "No, I wanted to. If I would, I don't think I was in the room since maybe when I saw you last for Front Runner."
Wow.
And that was like 5 years ago. And you just I really do miss the room. I don't miss the schlepping over and stuff, but
and also now that you have, how old are your children now?
my boy Nick is the same age as a Stranger Things kid, so like he just started college this year, and then my daughter, who's going into the business too, I believe she's 14, and she's really fantastic musical theater performer.
And you've gotten to move, they've grown up in Louisiana, right, for the most part?
Yeah, my wife's from New Hampshire. I'm from West Virginia. My son was born in LA. And
what part of New Hampshire? I love New Hampshire. I'm in Massachusetts.
New Hampshire. Jason took me to New Hampshire.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
She would call you a masshole.
Yes, we had this conversation with somebody. We did a Covered Bridge episode about covered bridges, but my family, we take vacation up in New Hampshire every year, the White Mountains.
Yeah, that's so she's from a little town on Lake Winnipesaukee, and no, they call it, the
leaf peepers. Leaf peepers.
All the people converge, in the summer, and it's like it's a sleepy little town, but then it's just crazy. So it's like, her dad would be like that, the assholes are here, And
see, we're different. We go up when nobody else goes. We go in between seasons, which is our move, and then everything's closed, but nobody's bothering us, so we just go.
And the maniacs, the people
yes,
from Maine,
maniacs.
Were the maniacs.
What about the evolution of parenting? So you were talking earlier about, trying to move your children to, we're talking about evolution of parenting and moving your children to, less of a big city with less varied influence, something that could be a little bit more controlled is the wrong word, but sort of curated. I think it might be better. So can you talk a little bit about your experience as a child and how that compares to being a parent now?
My experience is really unique because I'm from a very little town, in West Virginia, and without internet and everything. I mean, it was fantastic. It was almost perfect. No one had any money, and and you didn't really know that. It's like you had everything you wanted. We were able to ride our bikes. Like the Stranger Thing, I think appeals to so many people because it's like, man, when you used to be able to kids could just hop on their bikes and go.
Your mom would kick you out in the morning and say, "Be back for dinner," and that's the end of it. Do whatever you want.
Yeah, and you pop around to other people's houses and stuff, but it was just like a to me perfect little existence, and you didn't know anything. You only knew you talk about your little village
and the Encyclopedia Britannica.
That's right. Yeah, which I still have. Trying to show my kids. They're like, "Why do we have those?" And
What are those?
one day they're gonna. But they look so cool. The leather bound and.
Yeah. I remember the
Uh,
guy that brought it. I remember the guy that came over to sell it. I as as if it was yesterday. I remember him knocking on the door and going, "Hi."
Well, we grew up in different eras too, Joe, and I remember like from my period in the '80s. I grew up in the '80s. My parents, they just did things differently than we as parents in general do now. Like, for instance,
Trophies for everybody. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going. I'm not going there.
we had a van with no back seats, and it was me and my two siblings, and we would just roll around in the back. No,
oh yeah,
yeah, and
yeah,
there was a refrigerator in the van that my dad kept his beer in, and like it was just a different time. Like,
yeah.
what do you remember from the '80s or the '70s when you grew up that just wouldn't fly today?
Yeah, well, I mean, like every road trip and everything, you're just no one's buckled in. You're hanging over the seat, sitting there, and
Yep.
it's like if you were in a crash, you'd go flying through. But I never knew of anyone who went flying through.
No.
Or even there's that loading up in the pickup back of a pickup truck, a
Yep.
whole basketball team of boys, young kids, and your parents never were very protective, I thought, but they would never think twice about me hopping in the back of a pickup truck with 10 other boys and going to a ball game.
For my 8th birthday, my parents got us lawn darts, and back then they were the real like things, and we would throw them up, wait for them to come down, and see who can get out of the way of
Oh
them
yeah,
first.
yeah.
Oh my God, that explains a lot.
Yeah, one reason I got so good at free throws was we'd shoot free throws, and then with whoever lost out, you would get shot with a BB gun. They yeah,
I was gonna say that'll condition you to make free throws. Focus, damn it.
yeah. But I mean, you'd have to like go stand and pull your shirt up and stand there with protecting your eyes and take a shot in the back.
But with your
Yeah.
dad being a military guy, was there also a level of like strictness in your house as well?
No, not really. I mean, I uh, we had our rules and everything. I had chores and all that stuff, and that's one place where I kind of feel like I've failed a bit as a father, is that I didn't set up chores and things like that, for my kids, because my dad, had to work all day, and as you know, as an actor, there's a lot of downtime, and so I feel like I can take out the trash. I don't get I don't have a lawn man and stuff I enjoy doing my yard work and stuff like that. But
Well, I think it's different when you're, when you have kind of what's the term? Sort of freelance kind of work, like we do. That we're like gone and completely immersed for a period of time. Then there's nothing. Get up when we want, go to sleep when we want,
yeah,
go where we want, and then can't do anything. So in my experience being an actor, it was it was challenging to figure out routines and consistency with my children. So it was just more of emotional and mental consistency rather than you do this here and you do that there, and this is when you do this. Like, we didn't have that. I didn't have it either. My dad was never around, and so it was all freestyle. um how have you balanced that with your children? I know it's always the mom. For me, both moms of my kids did pretty well with that. They were around a lot.
yeah. I mean, it's like when I'm here and when I'm not, away on the set on location, and anymore. It's kind of, there was a little minute there where Louisiana was kind of, well, for 2 years they were the film production capital of the world as
Yeah, it was the
far as
spot.
100 million budgets, uh, and I didn't really have to leave for about a 4 year period of time. But like now, everything is away. So when I am here, I just feel like I go out of my way to just be around, be there, for when they would get off from school, whatever, just to be present, to do whatever, be the Mr. Mom.
Yeah, and in doing that, Joe, though, you're probably and I'm not by any means degrading 9 to 5 jobs, but when those parents are gone, especially if they're traveling to a city and commuting, they're an hour before their work, an hour after their work, they're gone for the whole day, which adds up to a lot more than the 4 to 6 weeks you may be gone shooting something.
No,
So
absolutely.
so you're actually plugged in more than those doing the 9 to 5.
And I always try to, it's like, if it's like a weekend, I always try to, have them come if it's in the summer, be a part of, come on set with me and things like
Hmm.
that.
Is that
I
how your daughter
enjoy that.
got the bug? She saw it and said, "Oh, I want to do this."
I don't know if it was that, I mean, but at some point, she did a musical, and then, found out she just had this gift for singing. But uh, she's um, she definitely has done a lot of time, grew up kind of on sets. So
Mm.
maybe,
Hmm.
uh,
Osmosis.
yes, indeed.
Yeah.
And a question, because what's weird is I have 2 children. It's not weird that I have 2 children, but not at all. I'm sure there's more, but I don't
How
know
old
of
are
them yet.
yours? How old are
My
yours?
older one's 27. My younger one is 18. So they grew up at different levels of technology. So my older one, the technology part of being a parent was very different than the 18-year-old. There were
Hmm.
different things that were available. We know more now, or I knew more later. So I guess my question to you is, how did that evolve for you with your son, and then with your daughter, or the entire process? Because obviously your son is sort of the same age as my youngest.
Well, and at 14, she's in the thick of it now, where that's that age where they start to care about what their peers are thinking.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Wait a minute, does that stop?
The I don't really feel like they're different though, and because I mean Nick has pretty much always been there. At 19, um, um, I don't feel like there's any real difference in their whole social media upbringing, um, that I can think of. My son, and maybe it was because in the beginning, my son was really into uh, Xbox and gaming online
Sure.
and stuff like that, and um, so it just seems like it's been basically the same. But maybe I'm wrong there.
I'm just, I guess I'm curious as to what your own, adjustment or evolution has been regarding that, because it's, it can be scary. I mean, the one thing that I noticed with my younger is that, for the first time, you can see in real time your friends having fun at a party, or in a circumstance that you are not in, and it's
Without
happening
you, right,
in
right.
real time.
Hmm.
And
Well,
the emotional impact of that is just, wow.
yeah, I don't like that at all. I mean, especially
I
with
don't
the
like that at all.
no, no, because but what's weird is it seems like it keeps them less social, because they, instead of going over and seeing somebody, like my daughter is all the time, just studying with somebody, quote unquote, studying with, I mean, it's like the FaceTime, rings every night, it's like, oh, hang on. And she takes her books and go, and uh, it's just most of the time it's right here, and
Yeah,
uh,
and I wonder what the future is going to be when that generation looks back, because how we talked about, like with Stranger Things, you take your bike out, you go out for the day, and you don't come back. Like they're going to look back on this period warmly and nostalgically, like we are, where we would just disappear for the day and come back,
oh
because it's hard.
God.
Because they don't. My son is he's about to be 12, and he's so sedentary, and he communicates with all of his friends, but like you're saying, he doesn't communicate with them in person. He's either on his phone, or he's up playing video games with them, and they're all plugged in together, and they're living in this virtual world.
Yeah, my son is I guess one bit of light that may be coming is I didn't know, maybe you guys know it exists, but Apple's putting out something like he just showed me his phone, and you're taking like your iPhone and converting it back to like a more simpler kind of flip phone. Takes away all your they're still available, but they're not there. It just looks real simple, the interface, and it keeps you from you open it up and see all those colorful things.
The
it's
apps,
like, we do it because it's like every time, between a downtime on set or whatever, it's like, there's the email, there's the this, let me, go through all that. And man,
so he's aware that he needs to unplug?
Yeah.
My daughter as well. It's a consciousness. Yeah, they're about the same age. Yeah, it's a conscious. They're like, I need to unplug.
Yeah, and I think that'll probably be coming because I mean, in the same way, there's always like the ebbs and flows. Like the '60s and '70s went really crazy, then the '80s got conservative, then da da da. And so I think maybe with that, the kind of technology and things like that, maybe they'll
right. Because the new generations always rebel against the previous generations. And
so really parenting hasn't really evolved at all. It still requires a certain amount of consciousness and attunement to your children and being able to pay attention to see where things need to be adjusted. I mean, that's been going on for generations and generations.
Yeah, it's just I feel like I spend like so many hours of my day thinking about parental things.
Yeah, their well-being. I know.
Yeah,
they don't tell you that.
Yeah, it's too much. I mean, I know it's a little bit neurotic and everything, and I tried very hard to not be, the quote
helicopter
unquote helicopter.
Yeah.
But then my kids will both kind of say, "Well, you were," and I was like, "Really?"
Could you imagine yourself, Joe, in the morning on a Saturday saying, "Hey, go out for the rest of the day. I'll see you at dinner"? Like I can't picture myself doing that with my kids. It's crazy.
No, even now, my son, like at college, it's funny because I was really relieved that he wanted to go to LSU, which is right across town. But it's like I don't know, 10 minutes away, but he stays in the dorms. I mean, he's in the dorm, but he also will come home quite a bit, which is cool. My wife and I were talking about, hey, this is kind of nice. We see him maybe more quality time right now than we saw him, when he was a senior in high school.
It's kind of like you being on set and then coming home. It's kind of what he's doing. It's the same vibe.
Yeah, it is. It is.
We have a listener question that I want to end with. And Marty V asks, Ted Wheeler is the ultimate 80s dad. He always seems perfectly checked out. Do you see him as a quote unquote bad father?
I've been asked that a lot, but
Marty wants to know.
Yeah, my feeling here from Marty. Well, he's not watching, but
he's listening. We can describe it.
I own the Ted Wheeler.
Oh my God, that's amazing. He's got the actual Ted glasses on.
These are mine from ninth grade. These were my frames from ninth grade. I had the basketball strap.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Sure.
But these survived in a football helmet and on the basketball court, and they're in better condition than most of my current glasses.
It's a popular saying, but they don't make things like they used to. That's for sure.
Did you wear those? Did you wear those in the audition? Those? Do you recall?
Probably.
Wow, yeah. That's great.
But anyway, to the question. No, I do. I kind of, even though my dad was able to pull it off a lot better than Ted Wheeler, I really do see, or I try to approach. I mean, I think Ted, is a good father, but he's seen sleeping so much, because my dad did that all the time because they work so hard to provide for the family and everything. And this is a lot of men out there, that, like you say, they get up, they're gone on some commutes, almost 5 days a week before the kids are even up for school, and then it's like a lot of guys they work
And
5 and
moms.
past 5.
Yep.
And
Yep.
moms. Yeah.
Yeah. And then an hour, hour and a half. When we lived in LA, my wife was teaching at UC Irvine, and it's only 40
Oh,
miles,
yeah.
but it could be 2 hours
Mhm.
sometimes, each way. But yeah, I mean, he's I think a good dad. He's just like spends so much time working out, and I think we might see him get a little more active here in 5.
Okay. All right. That's a good
Little
tease.
little
And,
tease out there.
Well, and now that I'm a man in my mid 40s, I can relate to Ted sitting down in a chair and falling right asleep. It's just part of the spiel now, and I don't even commute anywhere. I'm just sleepy all the time.
No, it was really funny. My son, his buddy had friends in from Houston, this was like last year, and the friend said, "Hey, his dad's Ted Wheeler in Stranger Things," and they're like, "Oh, no way! Can we meet him?" And so he brought in these 3 guys from my friend, my son, his friend, and the 3 guys to meet me, and it was like about 10 o'clock at night, and I was sitting there, been watching a movie, and I was sitting there on the couch, just with my head back, zonked out.
Art imitates life. There it is.
I heard laughing, and they're like, no ways.
Just passing out.
Joe, if you could, before you jump, can you just give us a little update on Lisa Frankenstein and when that's going to hit and where your character plays into it? I know you said you're playing a similar character as Ted.
Yeah, I'm Lisa's dad, of course, and it's going to be opening up February 9th. It sucks I had to miss the premiere. I was too chicken to fly into LA. We had the premiere Monday night.
It was horrible.
The premiere?
The weather. I'm sure the premiere was lovely.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. Listen, premiere was awful. That's what I've heard. Take my word for it.
Yeah.
No, the weather was horrific.
Yeah, I know that, but I did get to. They sent me a screener, and I got to see it, and it's a lot of fun. But yeah, it'll be out. I guess it's a twisted kind of romance, so that it's going to be out there for Valentine's Day. So
beautiful.
It could be a nice little Valentine's Day movie.
Nice. Well, Joe, thank you so much for giving us some of your time today.
Yeah, such a treat, man. Thank you.
And Danny, can I give you a little compliment before I go?
Sure. I can't say no to that.
No, we all have these things, like people will say stranger things to me, and I know big career, but I always remember you from Titanic, because there was some line that just really made me cry. My grandfather came over, he was through Ellis Island, an immigrant from Greece. And there's this line, it's been a long time, but that DiCaprio says to your character, he's like, "Oh shit, I'm so sorry about this bad news." And it's like, "Oh shit, you lost my ticket or something." And he's like, "No, you're not going to see your mom ever again," or something, something
for a long
like that.
time. Yeah.
Yeah. My grandfather came over at 21 and never saw his family again.
Oh, wow.
And, but anyhow, that's just one of those moments that's always stuck with me, and it was a sweet moment. And thanks for it.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Yeah.
Well, Joe, thank you so much. We really appreciate you making the time today, and I'm looking forward to seeing Lisa Frankenstein. It gives me that My Boyfriend's Back vibes, which I loved from back in the day. So it was a zombie boyfriend. All right, sir. Thank you.
Awesome.
Great chatting, guys.
Thanks, Joe.
Right.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Man, I actually wanted to talk to him more about parenting and how it, especially because you're moving your kids to, I wanted to talk a little bit more about what was the thinking behind moving his kids to a small town? Because I was talking to people, I don't know, about, I was a couple of years back, maybe 10 years ago, and they had just moved their children to West Virginia. They're like, we've moved the whole family to West Virginia. We don't want to deal with all this, internet stuff. And so they basically were homeschooled, and they went the full nine. They were like, we're not having it.
I live in a small town, and there's really doesn't feel like in this day and age there's not much difference in where you live because you're plugged in regardless. I remember when the internet first became a thing. I mean, it was hard to get good reception here or any internet service here. I'm not out in the boonies by any means, but it's still, I mean, you're at this point in our evolution as a society. I think regardless of where you are, you're in it.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's everything is available. I mean, at some point, as you'll know now with Hunter, at some point you do have to kind of let go and hope, and just stay attuned. I mean, that's the difficult thing. Also, just for me, a lot of it was just figuring out what is their problem and what is my problem, because I want to make everything my problem.
And where not to overstep. Is that the idea?
Yeah, and just figuring out, like, staying plugged in.
I give my wife shit for that because she looks through my son's phone, and it drives me crazy because I'm like, no, don't do that. There's certain things I don't think we're meant to see. If there was a reason for it, like if there was something going on and we needed to see.
Well, again, what is the balance? I don't know. I think that's part of it is finding the balance, I guess, in life. But just as a parent, it's finding the balance of, like, when to let go and when to guide. And I think for each children and each situation, it's different. So, yeah, I don't think there's a rule book. I mean, there's certain principles to live by. But I think being an example is the best thing one can do as a parent. If you want, an Italian actor's opinion about parenting, that's mine. What?
Okay. Well, I mean, that's why we're here. We're giving people our opinions, right? That's the best we got. All we have is our opinions.
That's all I got. All I got is how I see it. I could be wrong.
And a bathrobe. You got that and a bathrobe.
And I got the bathrobe, the fuzzy bathrobe. All right. Well, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. And we'll see you on the next one.
Music by Denny Nucci. Produced and edited by the same two people you heard hosting this show, because they have no friends.